So you want to become more productive, huh? Well, there are a couple things that you're going to need to know before we get started. If you don't, you could very well end up falling for the same traps along the road that I did. What is up, YouTube? My name is Aidan Helfant. I'm an upcoming freshman at Cornell University who makes videos on life advice as well as learning and fitness. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 greatest misconceptions about productivity. If you want to have a chance at becoming a productivity machine, you're going to have to keep these in mind. The time misconception. The first thing we need to do to become more productive is to accept that we have complete control over our time. Too often, I hear people saying that they can't do something because they don't have the time. We need to thoroughly rid this phrase from our vocabulary. It is not that you don't have the time for things, but that you aren't prioritizing your time effectively to make space for the things you know you should do. It is entirely up to you what you do with your time. While I may technically have little free time because I fill it with reading, writing, and making content, it's ultimately my choice to use my time this way. If I simply reduced the amount I did these things, I would see hours of my day suddenly freed up. From now on, you should make an active effort to never use this phrase or even the idea of not having time ever again. Of course, there will be times that you really do have too much going on to do things. Instead of saying that you don't have time, however, simply tell people that you have a lot on your plate and you won't be able to do what they ask. This simple mindset shift can do leaps and bounds to increasing your productivity. Now it is your fault if you don't make time to do something, not time itself. The motivation misconception. Most people believe that motivation comes before action. We become motivated to create a YouTube video and therefore sit down and create a video. We become motivated to do our homework, so we sit down and get it done. This is the wrong way of thinking about motivation. Oftentimes, motivation comes after we've already started the task we want to be doing in the first place. This is because the results of doing the task bring rewards that motivate us to keep going. Here are some examples. You post a YouTube video and get motivated to make more when it gains traction. You read a book and learn something valuable upon finishing. This makes you want to read more for more knowledge. You sit down to write more of your book and your total word count increases. Most people see motivation in these 3 steps. Motivation goes to action, goes to reward. In reality, we should see motivation like this. Action goes to reward, goes to motivation. As said before, motivation is made even less necessary if we simply align the things we want to be productive in with stuff we like doing. In an ideal world, we wouldn't even need motivation, but instead simply use discipline. Discipline comes from accepting we don't need to feel like doing something to do it. It is simply a childlike mindset to believe that we have to feel like doing something to do it. 2-year-olds do what they feel like doing. Adults do what they know they need to, regardless of if they feel like it or not. If we want to become genuinely productive, we need to accept that motivation is a myth. Motivation is the old method for productivity. Discipline is much better. The multitasking misconception. So you want to become more productive? Well, if you listen to a podcast while doing your taxes, playing the guitar, and reading a book, you'll get much more done in a short period, right? No. Multitasking seems like a great idea at first. You can do much more in less time. That being said, there are many situations in which multitasking is viable. You can listen to audiobooks while doing the dishes or other chores, for example. Any task which requires almost no mental effort can be done while doing something else if planned correctly. That being said, multitasking as most people see it should not be thought of as effective. When we are multitasking, we're switching between all of the tasks we're doing in concise bursts. Our brain cannot focus on more than one thing at a time and sporadically switches to compensate. This takes away from our ability to enter one of the most extraordinary states for productivity, the flow state. The flow state is a state in which all other areas of life seem to dissipate as we become completely absorbed in our work. There are 2 things necessary for effective flow state entrance. Get in the Goldilocks zone. The Goldilocks zone is a zone where things are just tricky enough to be exciting, but not too hard that they're frustrating. To enter the flow state, the task we are doing must be in this zone. We need to make sure that whatever we do is neither too easy nor too hard. If it is either of these things, you should actively try and change the task in some way to get it within the Goldilocks zone. Reduce distractions. The other part of getting in the flow state is to reduce distractions. In the society we live in today, this has never been more difficult. constant email notifications, social media, games, and television keep us from ever being able to focus on one thing for over 5 minutes. As said before, however, some of our most productive work happens during this flow state. If we want to get more done, we must prime our environment beforehand to reduce the possible distractions to a tolerable level. Here are a few ideas. Turn off phone notifications before getting down to do deep work. Set up a focus app on your computer so that no notifications or emails can distract you while working. Ensure that you have gone to the bathroom beforehand so you don't have to get up 10 seconds after starting some work. You can do many things to reduce distractions in the environment, so I urge you to get creative. This is why multitasking should be avoided in most situations. We constantly distract ourselves from doing one task, inhibiting our entrance into the flow state. Before doing any 2 tasks at once, you should really ask yourself if it will make you more productive or instead just make you feel more productive. We have now gone through 3 of the biggest misconceptions about productivity. You should give yourself a pat on the back. The hard part is over. You got yourself to sit down and watch an entire video on how to become more productive. Now comes the even more challenging part, actually putting what you have heard into use. I urge you, even if you only take one of these things into account, it will do so much to help you become more productive in the future. Alright guys and gals, that is gonna wrap it up. If you enjoyed watching, be sure to like and subscribe as well as hit the bell icon. Tell me anything I can do better in the future and check out my other content on the channel. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day and bye-bye!